Welcome back, everybody, to yet another stream by Esports Academy Pakistan. It is your host, Waldeity, and today we've got a pretty special day on our hands. It is the CSGO finals. We're already done with Dota. We're already done with Tekken. I will be talking about those results later, but right now, what I really want to focus on is the fact that this is the one game that Pakistanis have stuck to for so long. It started all with CS 1.6, and now we're on. Maybe people glossed over CS Source, but when it really comes down to it, CSGO is that one game where your mettle is really tested. So we've got a really good grand final coming up for you guys today. Portal Esports versus VRN. And of course, EFEST. It is brought to you by Esports Academy Pakistan. Really big venture. Having 4 games, Tekken, Dota, Valorant, and CSGO. So big stuff coming up. We're already done with Dota and Tekken, though. I'm really looking forward to Valorant, but today's the day for CSGO, so let's talk about that. But of course, before we can really get down to the nitty-gritty, before I can talk about how good the VRN players are, how good the Portal Esports players are, I want to give a quick shout-out to our sponsors. We've got Global Esports Federation, who've been working really closely with Esports Academy Pakistan to improve the overall integrity of the esports scene here. Along with that, we've got KFC, very big sponsors coming out. Of course, you've seen all those advertisements, those burgers popping up on the screen, finger looking good and whatnot. But of course, we're not going to just let you watch that. We want you to eat that. So vouchers all the way. They're going to be we're going to be giving them away just as we have in the previous streams. It's not just exclusive to CSGO. We've done it before and we'll be doing it again today. I get to pick who gets these vouchers. I'll be giving away 10 vouchers on the stream myself. So if you can post something that's funny, if you can catch my attention in the comments, that's probably the way to get it. And now that we're done talking about KFC, a quick shout out to Texonware. They've been providing business solutions in terms of computers and hardware and whatnot to basically a lot of business clients in Pakistan. They're big hitters, they're heavy hitters, and they're going to be joining us on Esports Academy Pakistan as well. Now, of course, we do have another giveaway as well. It's not just KFC vouchers, it's also EFEST hoodies that we're going to be giving away. So remember, keep commenting, keep interacting with Esports Academy Pakistan, and you might be able to get one of those bad boys. So before we really get into CSGO, I need to remind you guys, the prize pool is pretty big. There are some big stakes going at hand here. 1 lakh rupees in total, 100K, and the first place winner will have 60K up for grabs. Second place, you can see it on your monitors right there, 20K. And third and fourth place, they don't get too much, 10K, but still, 10K, still a big chunk of change if you get third and fourth place. So great stuff coming up, and this is where we look at the teams finally. VRN versus Portal Esports, and man, Trans is looking really nice in that picture. Cute little blue shirt, and always looking very dashing. But of course, he does have some aesthetic competition on the other hand as well. Portal Esports, they've got their player up and coming as well. So I'm really looking forward to this. Let's talk about their lineups, though. On the VRN side, we've got very seasoned players. We've got Trans, we've got Musab, Soulmate, HSB. Is there a reason it's not the lineups aren't there anymore? Production, get that back up on there. Yeah, so we've got Shaka as well. Goes by the name Abdur previously. And on the Portal Esports side, of course, Executor, Freaky, the guy whose name I will not pronounce. I refuse to pronounce it. Bullet and OK. Now, these are veterans in the scene as well. I haven't really seen much of Insmuje, but everybody else, I think they've got a lot of hours under their belts. So it should be an interesting match, especially with how the scene has been evolving recently. You know, there was this one thing that a friend of mine said. Well, I believe it was actually Pokemon. I'm not sure if he said it on the podcast or if he said it off of it. But you know what? People become variety streamers. A lot of Pakistanis are becoming variety pro players. So you've got players that are playing Valorant, playing CSGO all at the same time. So it should be really interesting to see if all of that practice really comes down to it. Now, thing is, I know that Portal Esports have been playing a lot more CSGO than VRN has. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Moving forward, what I want to look at is how these teams made it here. VRN, they were able to beat out 2 teams, come up with a pretty convincing victory here. I mean, 16-9, 16-6, 16-7. These aren't really big numbers to be putting up These aren't really big numbers to be putting up against VRN. And of course, VRN being the seasoned team, they didn't really take much time to clear out of these stages. And this is where now I want to look at Portal's run. Is it similar? Have they had similar results? So apparently, I haven't been following the action too much because Portal, they've been destroying people. They've been plowing through the competition. 16-2, 16-4, 16-3, 16-5. What is that? It feels like, I mean, correct my math if it's wrong, but I feel like all these games combined haven't had 16 rounds on the board for the enemy team. So that is insane stuff. All these games combined wouldn't be enough for a victory against Portal Esports. Solid stuff. But if you want a bird's eye view, of course, this is where we can look at the bracket. The grand final is up for grabs, and although they don't really get a golden cup as is illustrated in the picture, they do get money, and the metaphorical cup will be theirs for grabs. Now, of course, for any viewers that aren't really familiar with these players, we do have a few highlight reels coming up, so stay tuned for that. Man, those were some good highlights by VRN. But you know what? We can't go ahead and just ignore the highlights by the opposition, especially when they had such a landslide victory against their opponents. Again, not even 16 rounds all across the board, across all of their games. So these are the kind of highlights we really want to look at. Damn, those were some good highlights. Portal Esports all across the board. They had some solid plays coming through, and of course they did because you saw that scoreline. But we're not gonna deprive you of having to just look at their gameplay. We're gonna bring you straight to the action. You can listen to it straight from the horse's mouth, and you can just listen to the opinions of the players themselves. I've got the captains with me. Hello, what's going on here?
हेलो क्या हाल है फराज आबरो आपके
ठीक ठाक और कैसा लग रहा है मैच? Are you guys
मैच
ready?
हाँ वो तो हमेशा ही रेडी होते हैं
Well, for the audience, unfortunately, Ins Mujhe abhi available nahi hai, so we have OK on the camera. He's also one of the players from Portal Esports, and we have Mohammad Anas Trans Ayub from VRN. So, Anas, what I want to hear from you is कि तुम लोगों की तैयारी कैसी है? Like overall match के लिए.
हमारी तैयारी तो मैच के लिए बिल्कुल भी नहीं है मतलब हम सीएस खेल ही नहीं रहे अभी बस हमने
Okay.
टूर्नामेंट में रजिस्टर कर दिया था फाइनल में आ गए अब खेल के ही पता चलेगा किस तरह की प्रैक्टिस होती है
देखो, that's
बल्कि
that's
मुझे
raw talent right there.
हाँ और मुझे इतना पता है कि पोर्टल वाले बूट कैंप पे बहुत प्रैक्टिस करके बैठे हैं
Oh, okay. What do you want to say about that?
ट्रांस ये तुम्हें अंदर की खबरें कौन दे रहा है?
मुझे सब पता होता है
हाँ सही बोल रहे हैं, हमने प्रैक्टिस बहुत करी है वैसे। अब गेम
मतलब
स्टार्ट हुआ तो पता चलेगा।
मतलब प्रेशर ज्यादा है पोर्टल के ऊपर जीतने के लिए.
नहीं प्रेशर नहीं है, हमें खुद जीतना है ना, अपने आप को साबित तो करना है।
Okay, I mean, देखो, I'm gonna be honest. This is where instead of the captain's trash talking, I'm gonna do it a little bit, and I'm gonna say, देखो, Trans, you guys got knocked out in the Valorant wale qualifiers in EFEST.
हाँ
ठीक है? You guys didn't make it out of groups. So if you guys are switched over to Valorant, you get knocked out there, और फिर अब CSGO के अंदर मौका है, and if you don't make it here either, तो like गलती किसकी है?
अभी सीएसगो का मैच फाइनल खत्म थोड़ी हुआ अभी स्टार्ट भी नहीं हुआ अभी देखो ना स्टार्ट होता है तो
There you go. I mean, you're up against some very, very tough competition. So,
हाँ नो डाउट
okay. So I wanted to ask you, okay, overall, and by the way, I meant okay as in the player, not okay as in the word. uh, okay, what I want to ask you is, okay, overall, like, how's your practice going? Have you guys really been invested into it? बहुत ज़्यादा, like, daily practice? Yeah, I mean, that's what I would expect from boot camp, right?
यस यस बिल्कुल, हम लोग रोजाना प्रैक्टिस करते हैं और काफी देर देर तक करते हैं, तो तुम्हें प्रैक्टिस इंशाल्लाह गेम में दिखेगी भी।
Oh, there you go. Problem is कि VRN के जो players हैं, there's such an old core. They've been playing for so long कि इनको कोई issue ही नहीं होना चाहिए. If they're playing against any team, at the very least इनके defaults बड़े अच्छे होंगे. इनको ज़रूरत नहीं है एक अलग से आके practice करने की. And on the other hand, Portal Esports, I would say it's not as old of a lineup. लेकिन at the same time, अब इतने ज़्यादा देर तक, we've had Executor, OK, और ओवरऑल लाइनअप इतने टाइम से एक साथ है कि इनका ऑब्वियसली डिफॉल्ट और इनके ऑब्वियसली जितनी भी स्ट्रेटजीज हैं वो काफी हद तक सॉलिडिफाई हो गई होंगी. तो आई डोंट थिंक ये एक ऐसा सिनेरियो है जिसके अंदर बस हम कह सकते हैं कि ओके वेटरन्स हैं तो उनकी ज्यादा प्रैक्टिस होगी, या अगर पोर्टल ईस्पोर्ट्स अगर न्यू टीम है तो इनके लिए डिफिकल्टी होनी चाहिए. नहीं, आई डोंट थिंक दैट्स द केस. आई थिंक पोर्टल ईस्पोर्ट्स डेफिनेटली हैव अ ग्रेट चांस एट टेकिंग दिस होम, स्पेशली कंसीडरिंग द फैक्ट दैट, I mean, you heard it from Trans himself. How's Valorant going?
वैलोरेंट भी सही है बस खेल रहे हैं दोनों गेम
Hmm. It is what it is. Variety pro players and whatnot, but of course, I think that should be it from the captains. Unless you guys have anything to say, Anas.
क्या बोलने हैं बस गुड लक यार गुड लक टू पोर्टल स्पोर्ट्स देखते हैं फाइनल में कैसा होता है
गुड
मुझे
लक
इतना पता है कि मैच तो अच्छा ही होगा काफी
वन साइडेड नहीं होगा, अच्छा मैच होगा, मजा आएगा।
टफ मैच होगा मजा आएगा
Okay. What I want to give the audience an insight on is कि overall, how is the boot camp environment going for you guys? Like boot camp के अंदर like अभी कैसा experience है?
अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस है, हमें तो पहली बार है, बाकी
Mhm.
ट्रांस भाई और इनकी साइड टीम को तो पहले हो चुका है।
हमारे तो बहुत बूट कैंप्स हुए हैं यार पर बहुत प्रैक्टिस की
हमारा
है
तो फर्स्ट टाइम एक्सपीरियंस है, तो अच्छा ही है।
Well, Trans, can you tell me a little bit about your boot camp experience?
हमारा बूट कैंप ऐसा होता था, हमारा एक स्केड्यूल बना हुआ होता था कि हमें
हम्म।
इतने बजे उठना है, इतने बजे सब बैठ के खाना खाएंगे, फिर हम सब प्रैक्टिस करेंगे इतने से इतने बजे तक, फिर रात के वक्त जिसको जो करना है करेंगे, चिलिंग टाइम होगा या कोई और गेम खेल लेंगे कि मतलब माइंड रिफ्रेश हो जाता है। इस तरह हमारा स्केड्यूल होता था पूरा बूट कैंप का। मज़ा आता था बूट कैंप पे काफ़ी।
Well, I'm glad you guys both have boot camp experiences. That's what we want to see. And uh, the reason I pointed out the boot camp thing is because I really wanted to shed light on the fact that when you have things like eSports Academy Pakistan, then एक grassroots level के ऊपर हमारे पास ऐसी चीजें normalize होना शुरू हो जाती हैं. When you see parents see के eSports Academy Pakistan एक बना हुआ है, एक established चीज है, और ये बिल्कुल एक नॉर्मल चीज है, तो हम ज्यादा से ज्यादा प्लेयर्स देखेंगे जो बूट कैंप की तरफ जाते हैं, जो ज्यादा प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं और एक फॉर्मल एनवायरनमेंट के अंदर खेल सकते हैं. तो आई एम रियली ग्लैड कि दो ऐसे प्लेयर्स अभी हमारे सामने हैं जो पहले से बूट कैंप का एक्सपीरियंस ले चुके हैं, लेकिन इट्स आल्सो समथिंग दैट वी वांट टू नॉर्मलाइज. सो ग्रेट स्टफ. आई एम रियली ग्लैड you guys are experiencing a boot camp and whatnot, और एक प्रोफेशनल लेवल के ऊपर खेल रहे हैं. But I think that should be it from the captains. Now, stay tuned, everybody. We're going to be back after a short break, and we're going to take you straight to the action. प्लेयर्स अभी हमारे सामने जो पहले से बूट कैंप है. Welcome back, everybody, to the grand finals. Portal Esports versus Team. Welcome back, everybody, to the grand finals. Straight into Portal the deep end of the action. Team, and we are live. But of course, before that happens, into quick reminder: of the action, everybody in the comments start chatting away. Start before that happens, I have the reminder to be giving everybody in the comments start chatting away. Start interacting based on whether or not I like your comment. Honestly, I can do whatever I want right now. Left and right. Leave those comments down below. Whether or not I like your comment, honestly, I can do whatever I want right now. 500 rupees. Leave those comments down below, and you can get a KFC voucher worth 500 rupees. Shouldn't be too long before we get started with the game. Of course, they have taken a bit of a timeout. Shouldn't be too long before we get started with the game. Of course, they have taken a bit of a timeout, but it's all good. And of course, I can take this opportunity to remind you guys that Global Esports Federation is working closely with Pakistan having a bit more integrity, having with Pakistan Esports Academy formalization and how esports works, having a bit more integrity, having on top of that formalization and how always here to support us, always there to support. Check them out. On top of that, and they've been incredibly helpful. Always here to support us, always providing Esports Academy Pakistan computing solutions. They've been incredibly helpful in terms of providing computing solutions to be too long before we go live with the game. As you can see, a player from VRN shouldn't be too long before we go live with the game. That happens, especially when you're playing from home. A player from VRN might have just disconnected, but too bad that happens, especially when you're playing from home. Many LAN events here in Pakistan because of coronavirus. Too bad that we couldn't have anywhere actually. Many LAN events here in Pakistan globally we haven't really had much LANs not anywhere actually. I don't know why I said Pakistan. Globally we haven't really had much LANs going forward. Technical issues are basically the name of the game when you're playing from home. It is something to be expected. You have a pet cat. Technical issues are basically the name of the game when you're playing from home. You know how that story goes. You have a pet cat. It just it knocks into your router, and you know how that story goes. Well, this actually gives me the opportunity to talk a little bit about how the teams have been in the back lines. For anybody that actually gives me the opportunity to talk a little bit about how the teams have been in the back lines. For anybody that didn't really get a chance to catch reminder that Portal Esports captains grinding away at before. Currently at the Portal Esports reminder that Portal Esports they've been grinding away at this game. They're currently at the Portal Esports at the moment, and they have all the tools. They've got all the bells and whistles. They're kitted out with an org, and I think this is where they're going to show that boot camp has been working out for them. Now the gatekeepers, and I think this is where they're going to show that VRN has been working out for them. Now they don't really play CSGO right now much anymore because most of their players are starting to invest a little bit into CSGO that much anymore because most of their players are starting to invest a little bit into Valorant and from EFEST in their Valorant games, they would have been playing tomorrow as well. Which reminds me, EFEST in their Valorant games, there is a quick announcement tomorrow as well. For anybody that doesn't know, anybody that hasn't been following Valorant Grand Finals will be coming up next tomorrow. Anybody that hasn't been following Valorant for that, Grand Finals will be coming up next tomorrow. That you are interested. So stay tuned for that. If that is something that you are interested in. I mean, pretty sure the viewers can see what's going on in the chat. I mean, pretty sure standard stuff when it comes to a Pakistani game. It wouldn't be pretty standard stuff when it comes to a Pakistani game without a little bit of trash talk. It wouldn't be a raw, back to the basics, classic Pakistani game without a little bit of trash talk. We know that Team VRN's players, they've been a core for so long, they've stuck around. We know that Team VRN's players, I think they've been a core for years. So long, they've stuck around. If not even before CSGO was a thing, some of their players actually know each other before that. And if not even before CSGO was a thing, some of their players actually know each other before that. And overall, maybe their friendships are a little new compared to that, but especially when you're in such a close-knitted community, all of these players do know each other well, especially when you're in such a close-knitted all these pro players, of course, getting to know each other incredibly well. Pakistan community leads to a bit of banter, leads to a bit of getting to know each other incredibly well. Leads to a bit of banter, leads to a bit of trash talk, and that's okay. In the meantime, if somebody can come up with an incredible excuse for the last player to have not connected, maybe I'll be giving away a KFC voucher. For the last player to have not connected yet in the comments, maybe I'll be giving away a KFC voucher. Man, I'm just looking at the KFC vouchers in my hands right now. I mean, I've got 2 of them. right
Man,
now.
I'm just looking at the KFC vouchers in my hands
power,
right
right?
now. I mean,
You've got
I've got two
finger
of them
licking good
right now,
at
right
your
in front of me.
fingertips. You've got,
And that's a
don't have
feeling
to
of
pull
power,
out your
right?
wallet.
You've got
Don't have to
finger
pay any
licking
money.
good
All you gotta do is
at your
you go up
fingertips.
and you
You've
go
got-
like, hey,
Don't have to
I
pull
was
out
a
your
viewer
wallet.
of
Don't have to pay
eSports
any
Academy
money. All you gotta
Pakistan's
do is
first
you
project.
go up
I
and
was
you
a
go like,
part of
hey,
EFEST.
I was a
I
viewer of
listened, I
eSports
reacted,
Academy
I clicked
Pakistan's
away,
first
I
project.
followed,
I was
did
a part of
everything I
EFEST.
could.
I
And I got
listened, I
noticed.
reacted, I
said
clicked
something
away, I
funny, I said
followed, I
something
did
witty in the
everything I
comments,
could.
and ended up getting
And
a
I got
KFC
noticed.
voucher. So
I said something funny, I said something
is
witty
what
in
it
the
is.
comments, and ended
That
up getting a
feeling of
KFC
power
voucher.
doesn't
So
really go away.
is what it is.
Now, of course,
That feeling of
the
power
art
starting
doesn't
to
really go away.
join, and seems like it is
Now,
the
of
caster's
course,
curse. As soon as
the art
Shaka
starting
starting to join,
immediately
and
disconnects.
seems
but
like it is the
there we
caster's
go.
curse. As soon as Shaka
Back
joins,
on the board. Immediately
everybody's here.
disconnects,
10 out of 10
there we
players.
go.
The ready's popping up.
Back on the board.
Everybody's here.
And
10
seems like
out of
VRN
10
is
players,
finally ready.
The
Their own
ready's popping
teammate,
up. Soulmate. And seems like VRN is
agreed
finally
to
ready. Their
starting
own
the game.
teammate, Soulmate, match should no longer be paused. Has agreed to starting
Man,
the
these
game.
guys have some really nice looking skins.
Match should no longer be paused. Man, these guys have some really nice looking skins. Well, finally we're getting into the game. All these technical issues, they don't really finally we're getting into the game. All these technical issues, that is the Pakistani way. When you've got technical issues here and there, but you know what? That's what that is the Pakistani way. When you've got technical issues here and there, to minimize these kind of things that happen. You know what? That's what eSports Academy Pakistan is working towards. To minimize these kind of things, you gotta give them that. Now, Team VRN really do much. Seems like they are starting to go. You gotta give them that. Now, Team VRN outside seems like they are starting to go towards the bomb site yet. Some information has been given up. And it hasn't been too decisive just yet. Some information has been given up just yet. They haven't had any rotations come in. They still have a player in jungle, and because of this commitment that is coming out by rotations come in, they still have a player in jungle, and because of this commitment that is coming out by perfectly in their favor. Now, VRN, they've given up some fake audio cues towards B. The fake should be coming out. VRN, they've given up some fake audio cues towards B. The fake should be coming out. Player misses a few shots, finally starts to land them. Where the A push happens. Executor more than one, but first player misses a few shots, finally starts to land them. He isn't able to get more than one, but 3 keys on the case. He's coming around the corner. He's taken away by Musa. Under Palace is still chiming in the game. Don't realize that he's the master of Palace. He's done it before. He's got a Palace. Is the name of the game, but looking to make it work. He's the master of Palace. He's done it before. He's got a P250. Just needs to get the plan down, but it's a bit of a pincer. 1 versus 2. Bomb in hand. The player just needs to get the plan down, but it's a bit of a pincer. A checkmate is underway because the player in connector. I know. What a shot. What a shot.
First round on the board for Portal eSports, and man, what a good call. First round on the board for Portal eSports, and man, 3 players on A and not coming out from them. Even when you have a bunch of audio players coming your way and towards the B-bomb site, even when you have a bunch of audio cues coming your way towards the B-bomb site from them. That's definitely something to behold. So great work coming out from them.
To get the bomb down, but regardless, they still opt for deagle buys across the board. To get the bomb down, but regardless, they still opt for deagle buys across the board. Their economy shouldn't be like too good after firing range here because Portal eSports, they've got the weaponry needed. Must be a firing range here because Portal eSports, they've got the weaponry with MP9s, mow them down. The range doesn't even matter when you're dealing with unarmed playing with MP9s, and the range doesn't even matter when you're dealing with unarmed opponents to deal with. Soulmate, the aim punch, fall, and I think HSP should be soon to follow. Soulmate will fall, and I think HSP should be soon to follow. Bomb not even in a scenario. Maybe he gets a 1 dig in, but I don't think scenario. Maybe he gets a 1 dig in, but I don't think we can hope for too much. HSB taking his time, and I actually really like the patience from him taking his time. Just hold the angle. And I actually really like the patience get a weapon out of the hands of Portal eSports rather than try to at least get a weapon out of the willy-nilly to try to go for a rather than. I like that and go in willy-nilly to try to go for a flashy play. To getting the first. I like that and. Bullet has been spotted, but now he'll be checking underpass, and that 3 HP isn't doing him any favors. But now he'll be checking underpass, and that 3 rounds on the board isn't doing him any favors. Portal eSports, VRN, 2 rounds on the board. Man, they do have a bit of money to work with. VRN, man, AK-47 in the hands of money to work with. AK-47 in the hand as well, but I think the big deal here is that they won't really have much utility to work with. I think the big deal here is that they won't really have much utility to work with. And he didn't really invest too much, so he's still able to come away with a and he didn't really invest too much, so he's still able to come away with a smoke with head armor. A couple everybody else, I think they're a decent gonna have to with head armor, having firepower. Everybody else, I think they're gonna have to commit to having just utility. So. Or definitely a gamble to be made here, and just utility. Like VRN, so they ended up going definitely for a pause a gamble to be made here, and it seems like VRN they ended up going for a pause to maybe talk this one out. I'm starting to think this isn't about strategy anymore. Maybe it's a technical pause or something. I'm starting to think this isn't about strategy anymore. Maybe it's a technical pause or something. They've exhausted all of their pauses already for this half. VRN, they've exhausted all of their pauses already for this half by having 3 pauses taken up early. It seems like it's the same issue as before. Shaka. And it seems like it's the same unable to show up to the server. Shaka. Unable to show up to the server. That's basically what the banter was about earlier. You gotta feel for them, though. Technical pause hasn't been called in for them, though. That's nice from Portal Esports. I gotta love that hasn't camaraderie. Been called in, but that's nice from Portal Esports. I gotta love that camaraderie. Pause of their own. They risk their own timeout, and they call the pause of their own. They risk their own timeout, and hopefully the admin can respond in time. I'm a little surprised that Shaka's having issues with connection, because generally he's not one of the players that has too many connection issues, because generally he's I'll be honest, recently I've been having a few issues here and there with the infrastructural. I'll be honest, recently I've been having a few issues here and there with the infrastructural. All that stuff can be sorted out eventually, but hopefully all that stuff can be sorted out eventually. Coming out. Now we finally do see a pause coming out. Now, this is a pause that can be indefinite because, of course, it is up to the admin's discretion. This is a pause that can be indefinite because, of course, it is up to the admin's discretion whether or not Team VRN should just play 4 versus 5. Decide whether or not Team VRN should just play 4 versus 5. Also comes down to whether or not the players agree. So, also comes down to whether or not the players agree. But I don't think that should be too much of an issue. Portal Esports are actually looking very interesting to me already, because Portal Esports the way they started interesting to me already, because the way they started on their piss around tells me that they've been they started on their piss around. They've been doing their homework. Tells me that they've been starting to get things going, and they've been doing their homework. They're starting to get things going, and this is something I talked to the owner of Portal Esports about. A bunch of young players having a bunch of a bunch of young players having a bunch have the right resources and given enough having a bunch time, of young they might be able to bring have the right resources to a and given enough level where they might be able to the veterans, and I think that might just be what happens here, level where they can compete with the veterans, and I think that might just be what happens on the board that they need. They've got the boot camp going for them. It's not like they're slouches either. They've got incredible talents in terms of firepower. It's not like they're slouches either. They've got incredible talents like 3,000 elo or something on Face It. So that's damn. I think Freaky's like 3,000 elo or something on Face It. So that's nothing to scoff at. That's nothing to. But that's nothing to scoff at. It seems like the technical issue might be a little too much at the moment. I think like the technical issue might be a little too much at the moment. Might go on for a bit longer. So we are going to be back after a short break. Might go on for a bit longer. So we are going to be back after a short break and back into the deep end of the action. Hopefully we can jump straight back into the deep end of the action. Welcome back, everybody. We are live yet again with Portal eSports. Welcome back, everybody. We are live yet again with getting into it. But finally, VRN. I think Shaka shouldn't be disconnecting anytime soon. I think Shaka shouldn't be disconnecting anytime soon. But Portal eSports, hopefully, dear God, they've got a pretty decent lead, and with the way their Portal eSports pistol setup, they've got a pretty decent lead. Honestly, with the way their pistol, very surprised to see how they've started to have. Honestly, very surprised to see how they've started to have HSB and Shaka. They've gotten to kill a piece where I thought they might have to HSB and Shaka. Too much utility for them to be useful. They might have to sacrifice too much utility for them to be useful. Shaka gets a bit of chip damage from his buddy there, frags very quickly. Nothing too much. Gets a bit of chip damage from his buddy there. A mid-control seems to be the name of the game. Musab is now starting to move in. Mid-control seems to be the name of the game. Musab is now starting to move in. All by himself. He's got an A1S as well. Burden of trying to stop them around the snow by himself. Shaka, he's got an A1S as well. He's trying to look for them around the snow. Shaka is able to eventually respond, but that is at the expense now a lot of damage. Okay, and Executor where they need to go for the retake, but the problem is to see where they need to go for the retake. Committed. The problem is they've got a VRN. They themselves haven't quite committed, and Shaka seems to have given up the information that they're starting to go. And Shaka seems to have given up the information that they're starting to go. They're starting to go B. HSB will be the first man to go in as they move towards the A bomb site. There's still a player ready and waiting as they move towards the A bomb site. Okay, there's still a player ready and waiting from stop the bomb side, but with that position, it will be on the other side to maybe stop the bomb plan, given up with that position. 2 versus 4. Position given up. Nice. And it's a 2 versus 4. VRN have gotten their first round on the board. And VRN have gotten their first round to get a bit of money as well. Maybe get the ball rolling. This is where they can start to get a bit of money as well. Maybe get the ball rolling. On the other hand, it's a very risky prospect for them because Portal eSports, on the other hand, it's a very much of an investment in the previous round. They're still, although they didn't have much of an investment in the previous round, they're still weaponry. They could have gone for M4s and no Kevlar. They have to save up for proper weaponry. They could have gone for M4s and no Kevlar. Seems like they will go for a more conservative approach, but seems like they will go to the table, more conservative approach. That can cook anything up. Maybe just play off of those close angles. See if that can cook anything up. Maybe just play off of those close angles. Shaka lining up a smoke from underpass. Shaka lining up a smoke from underpass. Allows them to get free control. Smoked out connector off the mid area because there's nobody that can potentially contest it very quickly. Off the mid area with the kind of weaponry. But as I say that, Smudge has already found the kind of weaponry. But as I say that, Smudge has already found the first frag with his eagle, and Musab is trying to eat up the numbers. That got a little spicy there for a second. Oh man, Musab, that got a little spicy there for a second. His movement looking on there, but Musab looking wild with his aim. His movement might have just saved the round for his team by getting those few frags. He might have just saved the round for his team by getting those and Shaka were about to drop the ball there for a bit. It did look like Soulmate and Shaka were about to drop the ball there for a bit. That's still quite a bit of time being wasted because he has to recover the bomb, so that's still quite a bit of time being wasted. If he does decide to go A, that will be very problematic, but Bullet has been taken care of. That will be very problematic, but Bullet has been taken care of. Ace. Don't think Trans will give them that privilege. Is he looking for the ace? Nice little tap. Think Trans will give them that nice privilege. And clean, and yep, nice little tap. Really happy that he was able to secure the kill on Bullet because man, really happy that he was able to secure the kill on Bullet because decided to go in from ramp. That would put him in a position where Bullet decided to go in from ramp. That would put him in a position where Bullet would simply just run away because he would be enough of maybe like 10 seconds remaining and then just run away because get on the bomb. He would be enough of get on the bomb site and get the plant down. Not let them get on the bomb. Very nicely done. Get on the bomb site and get the plant down. They've got very nicely done. Very hard and fast push coming in. The cavalry is arriving. Can they take very hard and fast push coming in. Going away with the AUG. Can they take care of this? Going away with the AUG. He's found 3. Wards will be deadly. But Shaka's meanwhile coming in for the lurk, and wards will be deadly. He has to deal with Bullet. Meanwhile, coming in for the that are coming in from Market as well. He has to deal with Bullet, but VRN that are coming in from Market as well. It's a 2 versus 2, but VRN is split up. The Portal eSports can potentially take, or rather 2v1s. Finally, the Portal eSports can potentially take. Maybe they can get close together and get the bomb down, but Portal eSports, they don't seem to be phased by this initial fake that comes in from Shaka. They don't seem to be phased by this initial fake that comes in from Shaka. Freaky should be the first man in. He's allowing Bullet to clear out his opposing angles. The first man in. Still worried that somebody might clear out his opposing angles. This is where they start to move in. Nobody's there to be found yet, but Shaka's playing from a very exposed position. Nobody's there to be found yet, but Shaka's playing from a very exposed position. He might have to go for a ballsy. Franz, he's been smoked out as well. He might have to go for a ballsy. He goes for it eventually, and he does manage to catch the diffuser. He goes for it eventually, and he does manage to catch the diffuser instead of taking the double peek, but man, that was nicely done by Trans to be able to find both frags and nicely done by Trans to be able to find both frags and stop the defuse. I didn't realize that it was being defused for a second. And remember, guys, before we get into the next round, quick reminder, if you're sharing
remember, guys, before we get into the next round, quick reminder, if you're sharing the stream, voucher coming your way, so share it, you might just get a share it because voucher coming your way, so finger licking good chicken is meant to be shared. Hey, that finger licking good chicken is meant to be shared. Soulmate, flashbang comes out, double flash to start the execute. Flashbang comes out, double flash. Bullet, he's playing that close angle. He's found the first frag, but unfortunately, he's playing that close angle. He's charging. They're looking loud and Team VRN. They're charging. They're looking loud and proud there. It doesn't seem like Eagles, of course, difficult much challenge there. Nice little lineup from Executor. I love that angle. It's very easy to pick somebody up that is Executor. I love that angle. It's very easy to pick somebody up that is planting the bomb if you start spamming. It's a very simple lineup to do as well. So good attention to detail. And even though it's a meaningless lineup to do, meaningless skill, it's good attention to detail. Something to put under the belt. Even though it's a meaningless skill, it's still something to put under the belt. Now, Portal eSports. Now, they've got a buy, but it's still a little shaky. They've got a buy, but it's still a little shaky. Will be sacrificing their head armor, and okay, will actually just be giving up armor entirely. He's like, head armor, and okay, I'm gonna get this done. Giving up armor regardless of whether or not I'm a glass cannon. I'm gonna get this done. Regardless of whether or not I've got that metal towards mid, but this is where they're starting to pincer in towards connector mid from underpass. This is where they're starting to pincer in towards connector from underpass. Will be caught off guard by it. Portal do have 3 players playing on A, so it'll still be very difficult for VRN to get onto the bomb site. But as soon as they get the first frag, that is where things get onto the bomb site. But as soon as they get the first frag, that is where things good enough on his own to find the second frag. They found 2. Shaka, he's good enough on his own to find the second frag. And even though Portal eSports, those individual skills are starting to pay off. Going into this before they started the game, they had some strategy going into this before they started the game here. I think VRN, my friend, I don't think strategy is the big problem here. At the moment, VRN are completely outclassing VRN at the moment. Moving into B, that is a very nasty angle, and Soulmate will hit it every time. That is a very nasty angle, and Soulmate will hit it every time. Freaky and Executor now on the back foot. He's ready and waiting to come in from the shadows and maybe stop the player in market. He's ready and waiting to come in from the shadows and good enough for that player in market, but he doesn't even have to get the bomb down. Freaky, good enough for that frag. Does he go for the save? And I believe the answer is yes. Freaky. Question is, does he go for the save? And loaded players of VRN, because I don't think locked and loaded players of VRN anytime soon. I don't think a 1v3 clutch is coming in. How far he was to begin with, considering how far he was to begin guaranteed for VRN. Now, 5th round seems starting to wonder what VRN. Is Portal eSports doing wrong. I'm starting to wonder what is Portal eSports doing wrong. I really like Portal eSports' setup to have I really like active attention towards mid, to have a player playing from jungle, have one in ladder room as well, but unfortunately the way they played it out have one in ladder room as well, but unfortunately the way they played it out is that they didn't have double beats coming in, which allows VRN to comfortably take these individual duels. They still had HSB and Shaka push into jungle very easily without having much of a fight. They got in very easily without having much of a fight. They got in no trouble whatsoever, no contest, bit of a troublesome prospect, but nothing that Portal eSports can't recover from. Bit of a troublesome prospect, but nothing that Portal eSports can't recover from or amend. All across the board now. Kevlar. They do have an M4 now. The Freaky. They do have an M4 in the hands of completely sacrificed all weaponry just to be able to get that AWP. And SmudgeJ, all weaponry. He does drop the ball for a little bit. AWP and SmudgeJ, he does drop the ball for a little bit, but then he eventually gets it rolling. Shaka, it is very expensive for Portal eSports to be losing players at the moment. It is very expensive for Portal eSports to have the numerical advantage to maybe get something done with the pistols, but to have the numerical advantage Shaka is really giving them something done to breathe. He's found two. Doesn't seem like Shaka is really giving them. And Bullet is in a solid position. He's found two. Almost gets the third, but Trans. And Bullet is in a solid position. He's found two. Almost gets the very low in terms of there for the secure. He can actually get it done. Now where we thought very low in terms might not have been too useful. He can actually get it done. Now where we thought that M4 might not have been too useful. 2 points of health. He's one spray away from getting it done. Shaka, Trans. 2 points of health. He's one spray away from getting it done. A little bit. Trans missed the shot, but eventually gets late the push by a little bit. Trans, he's missed the shot, but eventually gets a little scary there for a second. Good secure from Trans, but it did get a little scary there for a second. If anything, I think Trans might have actually secured the death of Abdur. For a second, or rather Shaka might have actually secured the death of Abdur. Because for a second, or rather Shaka as he is on the scoreboard. But it wasn't a good enough Molotov to completely obscure vision and deny entry from ramp. Good enough Molotov which means that Bullet can kind of use it to his advantage, make Shaka think that he doesn't have to worry about ramp, and then just advantage, make Shaka think that he doesn't have to worry about ramp, and then just Team VRN shot on the back, looking pretty solid. But now that OK's got his hands on his signature AWP, looking pretty solid. But now that this is where we can see good stuff happen. B Apartments has been taken control of by the CTs. No players will be allowed entry onto the B site as long as OK's on the case. And SmudgeJ, he's getting work done with the AUG. Musab will fall. He'll just leave 3 terrorists in the form of Team VRN. As I say that, Trans and HSB, they've got to get it done all by themselves. A bomb is all the way back, so maybe... Oh, wow. What? Okay. That was a very nice shot by Trans, and he's followed it up. 2 kills for him. It's a 1 versus 3, and it's not something he hasn't done before. Another stab coming in. What is Trans doing? And I know they ended up losing the round, but man, that is one for the highlights. Very nicely done by Trans, regardless of the outcome of the round. And man, you can see the kill distribution right there. Trans, he said he's been playing Valorant, but man, he's sitting on 12 kills, 3 deaths. And he's showing the young guns that, hey, you can go to boot camp all you want, but when Big Daddy steps onto the server, there's nothing you can do about it. Team VRN still in a very strong lead, and it's a bit problematic when you consider the fact that they're not even on the advantageous side. Freaky, he's gotten them into the meat grinder, so 2 kills for him, but it is still doable. If Trans can maybe get a few more kills in just like that, it wouldn't be out of the question for them to be, getting a clutch through, but let's see if this can be done. VRN, they're starting to push in. Shaka, he's found the frag, but unfortunately, Bullet has stopped this push. It is a 1 versus 2, so he's brought it back to doable circumstances. It is within the realm of reason to maybe get this done. Shaka, he's found 2. He'd have to make it a 4K and a 1v2 clutch, and he's playing this perfectly. He's got only 30 seconds, but he's read Portal eSports like a book. He's coming up behind them, and he'll be able to comfortably get onto the B site and get the bomb down. But in SmudgeJ, he's moving right in. He's going to be checking that angle, and it seems like Abdur's... Oh, man. Shaka almost got it done in the nick of time, but chooses to go for the repeat. Very unfortunate coming out from him. Team VRN. They've actually gone for a pause now. Portal eSports yet again using one of their pauses because I believe VRN still don't have any pauses left. They initially used all of theirs, but let's see. I don't think this is a technical pause because everybody's present on the server. No problems coming out this time, so it makes sense to have a strategic
buy coming through. I'm a little surprised that we're not seeing Musa too much on the AWP, but at the same time, you're playing terrorist side. You're playing a very hard-hitting style of Counter-Strike, so AKs it is. Bullet, supportive flashbang to allow his teammates to initially take control of mid, and that has been working out for them, but not too much because Team VRN, at the end of the day, they're able to take control of mid from underpass. Timing to... Ooh. Not sure I'm a fan of the Molotov being thrown out there. Bit mistimed. And if he wanted to throw it early on in the round, I think he should have timed it sooner, but shouldn't really affect the outcome of the round there. Shaka moving in from ramp. 3 players from connector, and it seems like they've been read. Freaky knows exactly what they're doing. 2 players will fall, and that'll just leave Shaka. He's all in his lonesome, tapping away with the Deagle. My man, what can you really do? The RN Jesus won't really be on your side sometimes, so... Deagle ends up not working out for him. I'm actually really surprised that Portal eSports are able to bring it to 5 rounds. I mean, bring it this close when OK isn't really stepping up to the challenge. On the other hand, you also see that VRN don't have performers all across the board, but the reason I single out OK here is because he's the AWP player. When you're playing a map like Mirage with many opportunities, oh, yep, just like that. Got many opportunities, OK. He's starting to make it work. That's what we want to see from him. We want to see aggression. We want his AWP to be used as an initiator where he starts opening up opportunities for his team. And they've gotten it done this time. Freaky playing incredibly aggressively. He's the man on the case, and it seems like he's a very good detective. I think somebody needs to remind him that detectives just need to find out the truth, not serve justice. Takes a step further. Dishes out bullets left and right. Franz's aim is looking crispy as ever, but ooh, the only thing crispier might be just a bucket of chicken coming out from KFC. Remember, vouchers will be given away. If you've got an interesting comment, if you're sharing the stream, if you're chatting away, if you're following the page, if you're basically interacting with Esports Academy Pakistan, you've got a shot at a voucher, and I know a lot of people that have won. I think there are plenty of vouchers that are being given away, and hey, even I won a voucher as a... I mean, what are the odds, right? Even I won a voucher when I was just viewing the stream, watching somebody else cast on EFEST, so you've got a pretty big chance. Don't let it go to waste. VRN, you guys are moving in. Soulmate has recovered an AK by taking down an enemy. It's a 5 versus 3 already. VRN, they've made it so costly, and HSB finds a frag through the box. But Executor, he's still looking to make it work. HSB, another nasty D coming in. His aim hasn't been too sloppy. I thought it would start to drop off after those Valorant days, but CSGO is still grounds that are ripe for the taking. Executor, 1v3. Good tap, but unfortunately, 2 more peaks will come his way. VRN, 7-6. Now, this is where we see Musab finally picking that AWP. Utility all across the board. VRN, they still have a... I mean, of course they've got a great buy. They were able to upset the economy of Portal eSports. Portal still have money to work with, but OK has fallen. He was the sacrificial player there who gave up his armor just to be able to buy the AWP, but at least Bullet has made this more palatable. A 4-on-4, definitely a lot easier to deal with, and Soulmate is starting to grant a bit of space to this team. Trans, 2 taps coming in from Palace. That's the signature player we know of. We all know Transfer Palace, and he's showing us exactly why that is the case. It's Mujay and Executor coming in for the retake. Problem is, it's still a bit of a gamble to choose where what they go for. The next round, they won't have much money, and if they can save something up from this round, maybe that'll be good to get the ball rolling on the second round. But suddenly, Executor, he has gotten it in a position where maybe they can get this done. 2-on-2, 1 player playing from Connector and another in Palace. So a crossfire is, oh, not Palace, Firebox.
A crossfire is there, and unfortunately, they walk right into it. No crossfire needed even. Shaka simply takes them down with one swift spray. 8-6, VRN performing incredibly well on their T side, all things considered. I like the fact that OK has had a lot of initiative, but that initiative hasn't been paying off. So he's making the correct plays as an AWP player, but he's not really hitting all of his shots. He's gotten outclassed by Musab mid. He hasn't really been able to fight against these rifles even. So definitely something to be worried about. Now, Franz is able to find the first frag and the second from Palace. It seems like he's playing aim lab right now, making it look so easy, running around willy-nilly, and is he even gonna go for the ace? HSB won't allow it, but hey, 4K, good enough for me. So gotta be good enough for you. Trans sitting on 21-7. Great individual skill coming out from VRN, but you know what? You guys might see this as Portal getting outclassed, but the way I see it, it's an opportunity. If one player on the enemy team is popping off like that, if one player is giving you all the trouble, that means just taking out that one player, especially when you're playing so evenly. Like if you look at the score lines of Portal eSports, you've got 12 kills all across the board except OK. If you're playing so evenly, you have a lot more to work with. If a team is relying on one or two players to get things done, it's can be a bit of a scary prospect if those players will fall. But Shaka, he's making sure that bodies will fall as he's found 3. USP will be enough to overpower Portal eSports. Musab, another display of incredible aim. It seems like VRN aren't allowing Portal eSports any breathing room, and Soulmate will follow suit as well. I love how controlled these players are right now. No spamming with the USP, nothing. Just taking crisp, clean, straight shots. And seems like Musab has gone for a pause. Team VRN looking to... I'm not sure if it's a tactical or a technical, but I believe if it was a technical, it would have been called by an admin. So just going to assume that they're discussing their strategy. This is really scary for Portal eSports because they were down 9-6 on their advantageous side. They were on the CT side, of course. You don't want to end up losing that. And now, now you're looking at Team VRN, who've won the pistol round. They're looking to cement their lead. And it seems like they're getting it done so far. So definitely very, very scary coming out for Portal eSports. Timeout should be over now. VRN leading the charge, but not too late for Portal eSports just yet. Those deagles are actually on my radar. They haven't bought more than one. Okay. For a second there, I thought they did, but Freaky, if he can maybe get a few heads in with the deagle, it could be very useful to his team. Portal eSports now coming in hot and heavy towards the B-bomb side. They've got a deagle, they've got Glock, so the Glock train will be contested by HSB. He's gotten spotted out. He actually got very unlucky there with the timing. He could have been spotted out had it been Freaky instead that peeked him, but fortunately for him, he survived. Now, VRN, they start to realize that maybe it is going to be a B play. It's not a fake or anything, so they have two players another two coming in from market, so the rotations will be swift and the rotations will be deadly. Should be a throwaway round here unless Portal can pull something out of the bag, and that is exactly what it is. Shaka, he's done his job. He's held down the line long enough, and Bullet is making it very expensive, but not too much coming out from Portal eSports. Regardless, great round because, hey, their investment, it was just a Desert Eagle. It was a few blocks here and there, so not too bad, not too shabby. Now, because Bullet is able to get so much damage in, he also gets the benefit of having additional money which he can use to buy up utility, and that could be the make or break here. When you're down 11-6, you're on the disadvantageous side, you're on the terrorist side. You need every little bit of help you can get, but HSB, he's not helping you there. He's found 2. He's looking for the 3rd as well, and his aim seems to be on point. He's found the 3rd as well. Flashbang comes out, playing very close. The flashbang fails, but his aim will not, and unfortunately, as much as he'd like to keep playing deathmatch, his bullets won't refill themselves after he gets a kill. Still, 4 kills from him. Very nicely done. And VRN, they've thwarted this push. And what can be done by Portal here? They're getting the kills in. They don't... I mean, they're getting the kills in, but now they're on the T side. They haven't been able to do much here after they switched over. Granted, they've only gotten 1 gun round, but at the same time, OK isn't able to really perform. He could be the difference maker here because Team VRN, they don't really have many slouches. Trans going for taps, but then he eventually switches to the sprays. Aim looking solid as ever, and that could be another 4K for him. Stolen by HSB as well. Again, it could have been 2 aces for Trans, but HSB, he's on the prowl, he's on the lookout, he's not letting Trans get that satisfaction. 25-7 from Trans. He's making it look like aimbots. He's playing this so incredibly well, and he is so consistent at the moment. It's very surprising to me because I know that Trans and I are really good friends in real life, so we play a lot of Valorant, and he hasn't really been touching Counter-Strike, so still being able to maintain your aim this much on this game is incredible stuff. Now, Portal eSports, of course, they don't have any slouches either. They've got good players. They've got the likes of Freaky who have been getting them opportunities, but unfortunately, we haven't really seen too much action from OK. If that is the switch that gets flicked, maybe we can see something coming their way, but HSB, from the back lines, he's thwarted the push before it even happens. B Apartments is theirs for the taking. Too much information has been given up. Portal eSports, they seem to be caught between a rock and a hard place, right? Because they've got the bomb making its way to A. They've got 2 players on mid. Still a player missing out from the action as Insmuche is trying to join his teammates. They've already lost another one, so with VRN being so mid-heavy, they aren't even able to get much done with the 2-player commitment there, but Soulmate, ooh. Tried to play for style points, but doesn't work out. The tap ends up missing. Musab playing it a little conservatively, trying to wrap around the corner. Instead, he ends up going B. He has full faith in his teammates to hold down the line all the way from CT. And Smudge will have to hit his first shot if he wants to get the bomb down. It's actually pretty safe for them. They could plant for connector. But now, OK, he's starting to get work done. He's found 2 frags this round, and he's left to his lonesome. 10 seconds. Man, that is unfortunate. Musab in the right position, and the opposing opper will be a successful one. 14-6. 2 rounds remaining for VRN to get the W. Fortunately for them, Portal eSports do have another map. They do have another map to come back on, but at the same time, what can really be done here? It's an incredibly risky prospect. It's really a dire position to be in. 3 Deagles, AKs on their hands, and with the way their round loss bonus is, regardless of the fact that it's maxed out, it doesn't matter too much because they still will have to take a bit of an economic hit. Bullet, he's bought up entirely, so he will be the raid boss that gets work done. Freaky coming in from Palace, and as I said that our eyes should be on Bullet, instead it is Freaky that opens up the doors of success for Portal eSports, but at the same time, Musab's the one guarding them. And these gates of hell might be a little too difficult to get past. HSB finds 2. Soulmate to follow as well. Executor. Deagle in hand. The best he can hope for is maybe a bit of damage. Problem is that if he was on the CT side, he could maybe get away with his armor and have a decent buy in the next round, but he has to die here. He has to give it up because otherwise he wouldn't get the loss bonus. Portal eSports, tactical pause coming out from them. Man, that is some faith to have in your team. To be down 15-6, take a pause, consider things here and there. At this point, a lot of teams would just consider the game lost, but Portal eSports, they are not going down without a fight. Okay, back on the AWP. I would have actually liked to see OK off the AWP for a bit, maybe allow somebody else to take initiative because, hey, it happens. Sometimes you're just not hitting your shots. No blame to the player. Sometimes these kinds of plays happen. You just can't really get things done. And maybe if somebody else gets on that AWP, that secondary op, things would be more fruitful for Portal eSports. But in their 6 rounds that they've gotten, he's only gotten 6 kills, and 2 of those have been in positions where they ended up losing the round. So incredibly unfortunate for them. But Portal eSports, they got 2 of their players mowed down. HSB is good for the frag, and now Trans has to hold this down individually. Keeps continuing the spray, and that's a 2K, very characteristic of Trans. And Smoochie now left in a 1 versus 3. He's got to get it done for the map life for his team. Coming in from apartments, he's got an AK in his hands. He's got all the utility in the world except flashes. So just a smoke and a molly, but a minute on the clock should be good to work with. He only has to deal with 1 player at a time. They aren't in a position where they can double peek him, so at the very least, he's got that working for him, but now his position might have been scouted out. Musab goes for the frag grenade. Trans, that Molotov will be good enough to stop at least 1 point of entry. And that is so much time being wasted as Insmuche is trying to get control of the bomb. 3 players have already come his way, and now it seems to be a bit of a checkmate. Trans on peaks, and Trans will deliver. 16-6, ladies and gentlemen, that's the first map, and a very convincing victory by VRN up against Portal eSports. Stay tuned, though. We're going to be back with map number 2, and maybe even 3 if Portal eSports can get something done. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a bit. All right, boys. What a first map by VRN. Looked absolutely stunning, especially Trans. I think he was probably the MVP there. He was mowing them down left and right. Like, honestly, the comments really sum it up, right? I think most people are saying he's looking like he's playing deathmatch, aimbots, and whatnot. And really, that's how stunning he's been this game. So, Portal eSports, they've got something to watch out for. You've got the likes of OK really struggling at the moment. And honestly, I feel like Portal eSports might be able to bring something up in terms of a challenge. If, you know, everybody can pitch in, you can have a little bit more initiative coming out from OK, have a few more shots being hit. And I'm not really going to take too much away from the guy. He, of course, as the AWP player, there's a lot of pressure on you to really perform, get things done. So, of course, there will be moments where you end up missing shots here and there. So it happens, but I don't think Portal eSports are out of it just yet. That being said, you guys shouldn't be out of it either because, well, I'm giving away KFC vouchers at the moment, and it's up to my discretion. I could give it to a friend of mine. Nobody's going to stop me, but That's not what I'm going to do because I'm actually a good person. I'm going to make sure I don't give it to a friend of mine because I know basically the entire CS community. But I'm going to make sure I pick somebody that I don't know. All right. So I'm looking at the comments right now. Shazil, he's been really active. Next map. No, Shazil. The next map is not Inferno. It is, in fact, Dust 2. All right. Oh, man. I really liked Mosin's comment where he said that one team is a Valorant team and one team is a CS team, and you can guess which is which. But I know him, so sorry, man. You're not getting the KFC voucher. You can have mine. Yeah, I've got a couple here. You can have mine anytime, so that doesn't matter. All right. More comments. All right, Mujir Ali Mungi, I liked your comment. I found it a little funny. Too much boot camp. So I'm gonna get the boys to write your name down. I'm gonna get production to make sure that you get a KFC voucher. So it's all gonna happen after the event is over. So you're gonna have to wait a little bit for that, but you do get a KFC voucher at the end of the day. But remember, guys, that's not the only voucher I'm giving away at the moment. There will be more in between the breaks, in between the technical pauses, in between maybe another map switch if it does go to map number 3. But for now, yes, I'm only picking one winner. There will be at least 4 or 5 more. Well, it seems like production is telling me that it is time to go towards the game. Dust 2 is live, and we're going to be jumping straight into it. All right, it looks like the match is live. Team VRN versus Portal eSports. And if you're wondering what those stars right next to their names mean, no, it's not the kind of stars you get from your teacher when you're 5 years old and you do a good job in school. It's when you do a good job in the server. When you get a map down, Team VRN, they've already won the first map for anybody tuning in late. And it seems like they're already starting with a bang. HSB finds the first frag, but there's a lot of team damage coming out from Bullet that will be problematic. Soulmate getting heads in left and right. He's just tapping away like there's no tomorrow. Okay, and Bullet now in a 2 versus 5. Incredibly tricky situation. HSB, he's pushed into tunnels as well, so that just leaves OK to his lonesome. Does manage to find a frag, but Soulmate, good for the kill. VRN, first round on the board. This is very scary for Portal eSports. They've lost the first map. They've given up the pistol round in the second. So, although we initially thought that at least the first map, when you look at a map like Mirage, it's very puggy. So, we thought it would be a lot more competitive. But the problem is that even though Portal eSports had such good results in semis, like I said, they basically had less than 16 rounds in all of their semis across all maps combined. It doesn't look like it's the same case here. VRN actually had a bit more competition, it seems. But now, Portal eSports, they've gotten a fair bit of control of mid. They found 2 frags, and Soulmate almost dropped the ball there, but he's able to recover a spray down to secure 2. And it's a 1 versus 3 now. Okay, left alone. Bomb not in his control. He's got the scout rifle. He's finally starting to hit shots. A quick double to end the life of HSB. Shaka trying to find the head here. It's a very risky play because Soulmate is 1 scout hit away from certain death. Shaka, the only healthy player here at the moment. Okay, has no idea if somebody's coming in for the backstab as well. So additional time has to be used just to make sure nobody's in his back. Now, okay. Does he find the frag here? He's got an M4, so it does make things a little bit more doable. Flashbang comes out. Soulmate is good enough to dodge it, and well, Shaka is there for the kill. Now, pause has come out from Portal Esports, and I believe this is the first pause that Portal Esports have actually taken for themselves. No, let me think about this. No, there was a pause when it was 15-6. They wanted to go for the comeback, but still, very nice of them. Initially, in map number 1, they were actually taking pauses for Team VRN, when honestly, a lot of teams can do is they can simply say, no, well, you know, we're here on time. We don't need to pause for you. And it's not even unsportsmanlike. It's really, you're just following the rules. But they take the extra step. They end up being, they end up extending the kind gesture of taking their own pauses for the opposing team. And even helps out VRN a little bit. But now we're on map number 2. The tails of map number 1 are nowhere to be found. But Bullet, his Desert Eagle, seems to be finding heads. Finds the first frag. Shaka using an AUG. Not something you see too often, but HSB, very quick spray down. Not much that could have been done. That is the case because, well, it was an eco round. Portal Esports finally on those weapons. AWP in the hands of OK, and honestly, I'm really hoping that OK steps up this game, because having an AWP on Dust 2 can be so beneficial. Portal Esports are moving in with a flashbang, but Musab doesn't care. Even with his eyes closed, he just holds mouse 1, and he's found the 2 frags. Franz follows it up with a quick double of his own, it seems. And it's all down to a 1 versus 4. OK unable to get more than 1, and Team VRN off of Musab's insane spray down. They're able to find the 4th round. That is so unfortunate for Portal. Musab seemed to be blinded completely, but it was really good awareness from him to just keep going for the spray down. Very nicely done, but very detrimental to the scoreline of Portal Esports. Now, Tech9s all across the board. And I'd say all across the board, but that's not really the case. Deagle on Freaky. OK on the P250. It makes sense that he doesn't have much of an investment because he will eventually go for that AWP, but it will be a replication of the previous round. Portal Esports looking to go towards B. Tech9s are probably the best thing to have if you're on an eco round and going B, but they're giving too much time for Musab to pick them away 1 by 1. In fact, he even accidentally scroll hops, and he still give him enough time to find 3. Eventually, Freaky will find his head, but unfortunately, it shouldn't be enough with the way this round is going. They do have armor, so a weapon recovered could be all the difference in the world. Executor wise enough to catch the flank, but Freaky instead will be catching bullets as well. Franz doesn't need to do much more, as Shaka is good enough for the kills on lower tunnels. VRN 5-0. It seems like everybody's really stepping up to the platform here. They're stepping up to the challenge, because every single player on VRN seems like they're on another level. Franz has been going absolutely wild. No need to even mention that at this point. Musab's been hitting his shots left and right. HSB is getting the spray downs. Shaka always finds a way to nestle himself into the enemy's defenses, just find his way in. And Soulmate, of course, consistent as ever. On the other hand, Portal Esports, they were putting up a challenge in terms of frags, but it seems like a lot of their approaches are a little bit too slow for VRN. They're able to get caught out by quick rotations, just caught out by quick spray downs, and these long adjustments might just be the difference between VRN giving up a few rounds and just comfortably finding spray downs left and right. Portal Esports, the name of the game seems to be Catwalk. 2 players coming up. The bomb is yet to be there, so it will eventually be an A-site pincer. OK is able to find Musab, the opposing opper, and that is a very important kill to find. Musab, not an easy frag to find, so great stuff coming out. Portal This is where they have to get it done, but VRN, they're so ready and waiting. They've got 4 players close to the A site. Shaka finds the first frag and the follow-up. Transfer to help him out, but Freaky is able to get both. Is still favored to the CT side because HSB, he's gotten the job done on Catwalk all by himself. The M4 is good enough for the trades. And now Freaky with a single point of HP. He will be left to his lonesome. 10 seconds on the clock. Bomb in hand, but honestly, at this point the round's given up. At least he gets Kevlar and AK to take into the next round, but what it also does is it makes him very uncoordinated with the rest of his team, so they might have to buy around him, and it seems like that might just be what they're doing. They're buying up a little bit. Freaky, unless he can get the round, he'll definitely be too poor to buy in the next round. Musab, unable to find the frag around the smokes. Hey, he can get frags with his eyes closed when he's flashbanged, but it doesn't seem like smokes are the same deal. A Freaky, first frag goes through, a flashbang as well. And now A site is theirs for the taking, but they have to get past Soulmate first. HSB coming in with the AWP, coming in hot, is scoped in. He's tagged up, but he finds the frag. 13 HP on him, so that is good damage by a bullet, but HSB is given so much room to work with. A third frag for him, and he doesn't even find the player that is low on HP. He ends up getting the healthy players, and man, that no-scope was nasty. Off of 13 points of health, HSB has gone wild. And of course, Musab is there to steal the ace in classic VRN fashion. We've seen quite a few aces being stolen today, and it seems like this one is no different. 7-0, VRN leading the charge in a fashion that we simply did not expect. When you have a team consistently boot camping and you have a team that hasn't really been touching the game too much, you would expect at the very least the veterans to be overpowered by the sheer amount of practice the young guns have, but seems like the veterans are leading the charge on the server, and it hasn't been changing too much. Portal eSports, even when they do find initiative, when they do find the first frag, VRN are simply able to read them like a book, and the rotations, man oh man, the rotations. Portal eSports rotating to B now. They found their initial frag on A, and I actually really like this call from them to go all the way around with the wraparound. Okay, finding a second frag will mean that his teammates have a much more significant chance at getting the B site under lock and key, and this is great for them. Musab questioning his position there, starts to make his way to mid, and as he does that, players are starting to creep into tunnel. He finally repositions, but he's caught with his pants down because he's jumping onto the site. Executor comfortably will take that kill. And it is a 2 versus 5 now. Team VRN, do they gamble for the retake? They are about to get fed a kill in the form of Freaky if the smoke fades, but Freaky, he's not looking to be cannon fodder. Gets some damage on the way out. HSB unable to connect the frag, but at the very least, they've put some distance in between themselves and Portal eSports. Problem is, Portal are actually on the hunt. They want to get at least this AWP out of the hands of HSB because it's a significant investment. If you look at VRN, they've lost players so many times that it's actually quite easy to break down their economy with a single round, at least if you can get the op out of HSB's hands. But with that round loss bonus, with HSB having $9,300, it doesn't seem like he'll be walking off of his mountain of gold anytime soon. Now, Portal, they finally have a fighting chance. 7 usually is the lucky number, and it seems like luck is going Portal eSports' way. This is where things might start to turn around. Bullet, flashbang comes in. Portal eSports looking to take the charge on long. HSB, he's caught out with nades, but he still manages to survive and find 2 frags. That simply shouldn't be allowed in HSB. You're getting away with so much. 3 versus 3. Portal eSports really dropping the ball there. Soulmate and Musab, along with Trans, now have a fighting chance. This could have been incredibly deadly for them, but Portal eSports, they're getting... said 7 was the lucky number, but man... Now, Portal, they're starting to show a little bit more aggression towards mid. They're still walking all the way, so information hasn't been given up, but VRN, they're playing this to perfection. They will have information on Portal eSports very soon, but at the same time, they have to give up control of the A bomb site. Soulmate catches OK in the back, and that's a man advantage. Very, very unfortunate now. With the Molotov coming in as well, it became a little tricky, but at least Freaky can bring it down to a tie. In the meanwhile, Musab is ready and waiting with his AWP, and it seems like the gates of bomb site A have been shut. Freaky will have to go for a jump cross. He doesn't do that, actually. He ends up going for the duel, wins it out, and he's up against the raid boss himself. He's up against Trans. Can he deliver? Clearing out angles one by one, but he doesn't have much time. He's been spotted out by Trans. Freaky doubts himself for a second and will be going for the second plant instead. Bomb has been planted. Trans coming in from short. Both players know where each other is. Trans instead, he's waiting this out, but Freaky eventually gets the drop on him. Trans not expecting Freaky to go for the aggression, and he is able to deliver. Freaky, a great clutch from him, and honestly, that was a great way to stop the backstab as well. To instead of running onto the A site willy-nilly, they instead come back, make sure that the wraparound is shut down, and then take the round by the horns. 7-2, with VRN's economy being the way it is, I think it's definitely in the cards for them to at least bring it back to a reasonable number of rounds. Off of 3, I think something can be done. Portal eSports now making their way towards long again. It's their bread and butter play. It's worked out for them before, and honestly, it is tactically sound, but the problem is they're unable to find the frags. HSB was able to shut them down in a position where he simply shouldn't have been allowed to. It's happened before, it's happening again. So, Soulmate. Nice shot with the deagle. Well, I thought maybe something like that would happen again, but it didn't. Long, completely given up by VRN. Portal eSports firmly cemented onto the A site. VRN, the good thing for them is they've picked up an AWP in the hands of HSB. And it's a big difference maker when you consider that Musab and HSB have both been going absolutely crazy with the AWP. Musab secured a round, HSB secured a round, and one of the scary prospects about this team is that Musab and HSB are so individually skilled when it comes to the AWP and the rifles. Both of these players are players that are comfortable with them both. That you never know what's going to happen on the opposition. If you have HSB on the rifles, he's still incredibly scary to deal with. He's not a primary opper, he's a secondary opper. At the same time, Musab, despite being a primary opper, he's so good on the rifles. He's just so good, along with his movement, along with his overall awareness in the game, that it's incredibly tricky to deal with a team like that. You can't have everybody be skilled at everything, so it's understandable why Portal eSports are struggling, especially when the op is being passed around. Now, tactical timeout was taken, but not for too long. Guns locked and loaded on both sides. HSB on the op. Musab will be taking a seat in the back with the AK-47 instead. A little bit more heavy on the utility. Soulmate locking down a site initially, but now this is where they realize that Portal eSports, even though they've gone for early aggression on A, this is not one of those rounds. Trans was actually in a very good position, or I'm not sure if it was Musab, where he was able to clear out long very closely. And that at least grants them some information. Now, Shaka's found the first frag, and the B site is simply not theirs for the taking because the doors have been shut by both Soulmate and Shaka. Executor is able to find the first frag. Shaka in his lonesome is unable to do anything with the AUG. Open AK, HSB and Musab. Do they go for this retake? Yes, they will. They don't have much money coming into this, and they're confident they might be able to win the duels. There's not much HP on Executor and OK either, so definitely in the realm of possibility. AK being picked up by HSB as well. Flashbang lined up, utility being thrown out. Musab moves right in with the flashbang, finds the first frag, looking for the player in tunnels. He's done a complete 360 and even finds the frag all the way on the B site itself. Solid play coming out from him, and man, that was a masterful 2 versus 3 retake. No lives being lost, and that's the chemistry of VRN right there. They don't have to touch the game to have their comms right down under lock and key. Eight to 3 now. VRN still leading the charge very significantly, and honestly, I thought this would be a lot more competitive. These are the grand finals, ladies and gentlemen. But VRN are completely outclassing Portal eSports at the moment. Nade, not good enough to do significant damage, and Executor will be able to run away with his life intact. Even if he does get a bit of a pat on the back. Now, Portal, they're very fixated on the 8th side. They have the bomb all the way in spawn. They were initially indecisive, so they left the bomb there to progress on the basis of what pick they would get, but now they've got 3 players on short, and more will be joining them very soon. Long is completely abandoned. No Ts will be going there, and HSB quickly realizes that Long is simply not the name of the game. A flashbang to try to support his teammate on the A site itself. Supportive utility eventually will be thrown out by Portal eSports, but it doesn't seem like that is their final destination. They're coming out mid-trend. Plus one finds the first frag, continues to spray, unsuccessful, and B site is completely given up. The bomb comfortably gets on there, and this is a great fake coming out from Portal eSports. They initially showed a little bit of presence on long, and then they went around for the wraparound from short and even had the utility to show for it, but they've brought it down to a 4 versus 3, and it is incredibly difficult to hold it down when you're up against a team like VRN. Switching over to the AK, they've got 4 rifles coming in from the CT side. Flashbang primed up, Shaka, perfect flag. They move right in, but Insputje, he's playing around this window like a master. 1v2, and Insputje finds the final frag as well. 3 kills from him, and he was the savior on that particular day. 8 to 4. Portal still not out of it just yet, but still incredibly scary. Team VRN on the pistols. Not much they could afford, and I like this from them. Don't really go for a hasty buy or anything like that. Just play it very conservatively. Allow Portal eSports to get on that 5th round and just piece together a round off of a decent buy instead. Freaky and Bullet have found a kill apiece, and Bullet will be cementing his stats further. HSB and Trans, a duo as old as time itself, are in a 2 versus 4, but right now they're not going to have to be that one dynamic duo that everybody wants to say nowadays. That's the cool catchphrase, but they still have to hold down the line, make sure that they can get HSB away with that AK-47. HSB finds the frag. He's brought it down to a 2-on-3, and of course, using the bomb is obviously out of the question, but man, there's no reason to give up that AK in that instance. Still, It's not the worst thing in the world. They've got plenty of money, and this is where I actually start to look at the stats a little bit. HSB is going absolutely crazy with 18 kills and 4 deaths. Keep in mind, Portal have 5 rounds total. He's died fewer times than Portal has actually gotten rounds. And Trans isn't really the raid boss anymore. He's not performing at the same level that he did on Mirage, but that's the difference when you have somebody like HSB performing so phenomenally. Executor, he's found the first 2 frags. 2 entries will be good enough to almost secure the B site. And third follow-up. Yep, that should be it. That is the final nail in the coffin for VRN. Shaka trying to be a bit cheeky here, but he is getting peeked by 2 players, so very tough to deal with. 8-6. Portal are actually making it incredibly competitive now. I initially thought, like I said it out loud, I didn't think they would be able to get much done after that first map, but man, bringing it to 8-6 with the way VRN is going right now, that is remarkable. Now, VRN back on a shoddy buy, of course. They can't buy up. It is the last round. They've had to exhaust their finances completely. Trans on a scout rifle. He was telling me before the game that he loves using it, and this is exactly why. He's found the first frag. Can he follow it up? He's going to have to peek out wide before they get too close. The closer they get, the harder he'll fall. And he will fall eventually. 4-on-3. The CT side yet again on the back foot as they try to take control of the bomb site that has been given up to Portal eSports. Molotov will be good enough to stave off the timer for a little bit longer, but is it good enough? VRN, man disadvantage, weaponry disadvantage, and it seems like the disadvantages will only get worse. Soulmate, it is lonesome. Wouldn't expect anything more anyway, so 8-7. Great finish from Portal eSports, all things considered. I mean, not really a finish, but a finish of the first half. 8-7 after they initially lost 7 rounds in a row. Coming back from 7 to, I believe it was 7-0, yeah? That is... Whoa, that is actually very scary for VRN now. If they can get the pissed around, I can see this actually going to map number 3, but if you allow VRN to get the momentum of having the first round and then just having guns going your way, and then also CT side being a very finicky thing to deal with on Dust 2 itself, I think this pissed around holds a lot of importance. Oh, Executor is able to catch out Musab. Now, VRN seems like B is their final destination, but it's ending in a very similar way to the movies because Insmudje is the meat grinder they've been trying to avoid. 3 kills from him and a solid hold from Portal eSports. Now, of course, this is going to be a throwaway round. Remember, guys, this gives me space to talk about the fact that KFC vouchers will be given away at all times. The production team, they've decided that, you know what, they're going to add something to the table. They're also going to give KFC vouchers other than me. They've got the authority as well now, so write something funny in the chat. Share it to your friends. Tag your friends. Do anything. Do anything to get the attention of eSports Academy Pakistan. And we might give you a KFC voucher. Now, VRN, similar positioning to the previous round. Of course, that was the pistol, but B will be their destination yet again. Finally moving in, the bomb going up front, and Smoothj is able to get a spray down on 2, but this is actually a salvageable situation suddenly for Team VRN. With the first flashbang, okay, will make it a little bit more palatable for his team. Another flashbang to go out. HSB stops this retake with just an M4A1 and the close range. Oh no, this is falling apart. Portal eSports, you might have won the pistol, but can you close it out? Executor, he's fallen, and unfortunately when you lose that kind of round, Oh man, that money. Look at that money. If only we could give them a few KFC vouchers to trade in for CSGO weapons, but that's just not happening. After that pistol, there's no saying what's going to happen to their economy. Scout rifle in the hands of OK. VRN has done it. Maybe Portal can also replicate their success off of a shoddy buy, but man, when Trans is hitting shots like that, I don't think they're going to get much of an opportunity. Trans is able to react, and with only 11 HP, he will tuck his tail and run away. Live to see another day. Flashbang comes out. Musab priming his teammate for the push down mid. Soulmate coming out willy-nilly with the MP9. Mows down the remainder of the team, and that should be it. VRN 10-8, and oh man, it actually hurts to watch. When you're on the CT side, you win the pistol round, you're coming back from 7-1, you're like, all right, you know what? We've got all the momentum in the world. We can get this done. All we have to do is secure that damn anti-eco, but it simply didn't happen. VRN looking incredibly comfortable in their shoes now. Portal eSports not even picking the right place to stack at the moment. They decided to go all the way on mid to maybe be able to react to either side, but the problem with that is if you don't go for a push in a certain place, you kind of just leave yourself to get mowed down by a spray down, so a bit of a questionable decision there, but it could have worked out had it been a mid push coming out from VRN. Not much that can be done here, honestly, from Portal. After this round loss bonus, I believe they'll have 24... Oh, yeah. 2,400. 4,400 on most of the players. Very unfortunate to see, and when you're in a position like that, it'll be incredibly difficult to come back from it because now you're lacking utility. That is the name of the game when it comes to the CT side. You might be able to get away with some utility if you're on the terrorist side, but if you're playing Dust 2, you need to... Oh, I like that from OK. Goes for a cheeky little angle, but will it be enough? Soulmate, he's the entry fragger here. The spray down won't come through, but HSB is good enough for the refrag. Freaky, he's landing these shots left and right. This is such a tough angle to hit shots from, but he's able to find two. Musab, with only 26 points of HP, will be crossing onto the site. Shaka has smoked it out for him to cross over, but that is a ploy. He's all the way on long. Musab giving up his position with that Molotov being thrown. Now, Musab catches the boost. A cheeky play from Insmooje, but with that boost being caught out, that will give away the position of both of those players. But speaking of giveaways, remember, production. I know you guys are giving away a bunch of KFC vouchers, so a quick reminder to the audience, if you can catch their attention, if you can type something cheeky in the chat, maybe you'll get a KFC voucher coming your way. Little unfortunate that you can't get it right away to enjoy it with the game, you know, just dig into a bucket of KFC while you're watching VRN versus Portal eSports, but you will get it after the event. Now, Portal, barely any money in between them, so it's a little unfortunate to see. And although it was an excellent comeback to bring it back from 7-1, now Portal are just being outclassed yet again on the CT side. Soulmate. Yep, that should be it. Not much they can really do here, honestly. Portal eSports, you've got players, no weaponry. Sure, the Deagles can do a little bit of damage, but as we inch closer to the end of the game, it becomes more and more meaningless. You might get a few cheeky kills, but what more can that actually do? Economy is definitely not a problem for the T side unless a significant comeback is made. They've got $12,000 on Shaka, 10,000 on HSB, very close to 10K on the rest as well. So with them also having weaponry already, they're not having to buy up. It's man, this is not a solid situation for them. Now, VRN choosing to make their way towards long, and Portlev actually left it completely abandoned. VRN, they've snuffed it out. They know exactly what's going on. They found the first frag, and this is where Portal eSports starts to fall apart. Two players coming in from short. Bullet starts throwing away utility in desperation. He's thrown a Molotov as well to prevent the frost, and that will delay them for just a little bit, but that can't be enough. Shaka still safely gets onto the site with a teammate, and now HSB is on the lurk. He's found the first frag, almost finds two. The spray down will not continue, but that is already too much damage. Musab unable to connect on Freaky, and Smoothjay bringing it back. What a solid round coming in from Portal eSports on the retake, but man, VRN, they're stopping this push. Freaky, so little HP, and Trans is happy to gobble up the remaining pieces. 14-8, man, as soon as I saw that VRN are able to sniff out the position of those players on long, they realized that long is theirs for the taking. We all knew that it just fell apart then. Portal eSports, they have a solitary scout on Freaky. Deagles here and there. This is looking like a very similar situation to what we saw in Mirage. It could have even been worse if it wasn't for the comeback, but HSB, unfazed by the nade, still manages to find a frag. Yeah, this is looking donezo for Portal eSports. Comeback is not looking like it's really in the cards with the way their economy is and whatnot. They do get one final shot at this, but they've only gotten one round on this entire half, and that was the pistol. As soon as they dropped the ball in the pistol, that's where we knew it. The momentum was gone. You start losing a little bit of faith, and it's another 7-0 for Portal eSports. They had 7-0 in the first half. It's well, not a 7-0. They've gotten 7 rounds in a row, but it's a 7-1 in the second half. 15-8. Team VRN teetering on the edge of the finish line. They're just about to cross it, and unfortunately, Portal eSports, they're not really able to hold it down for too long. VRN, they find the first frag. This could be GG unless Portal eSports have something to say about this, and with this smoke being there, it's looking next to impossible. Team Portal eSports on the brink of falling. They have to get a nasty clutch going. 2 versus 4 to hold this down. Freaky, he's about to get a nasty surprise. Unable to get much done. Bullet, 1-on-4, and what can you really ask of the man? He's found the first frag. Gets to. This could be a clutch, but Shaka's there just in time, and that is going to be it. GG, WP, ladies and gentlemen, that was it for the grand finals. Team VRN are your CSGO EFEST champions. What a game coming out from both teams, and it is a little unfortunate to see them go down this way, 2-0. Not my favorite scoreline when it comes to grand finals, but it is what it is. VRN completely outclassing Portal on both maps, and there were also maps that were as old as time, Mirage and Dust 2. VRN definitely showing us that they were the better team here. And before we sign off, of course, we will have the captain of the winning team, Team VRN, with us, so stay tuned for that. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Welcome back, everybody. I am back with the team captain of Team VRN. And of course, I think we've already heard enough from Trans. He was pretty confident before the game. And honestly, I'd be fine with talking to just Trans as well. But HSB, he wanted to tag along for the show. So we've got him on board as well. So, boys, what are your thoughts on the game after all that mess, after that? That was destruction. What are you guys thinking about this?
कुछ भी नहीं, हमने तो कुछ भी नहीं सोचा था। हम ये हसीब सो रहा था, इसको उठाया हमने, फिर ये आया, इसने खेला, हम लोग बैठे और बस गेम खेला। कोई प्रैक्टिस वगैरह नहीं थी, बस 10 मिनट का वार्म अप किया था सबने।
Yes, I'm just gonna ask, like, तुम लोगों ने Valorant में पहले डेथ मैच किया था या CSGO में?
यार मुझे एक बात बताओ मुझे एक बात बताओ, मैं लाइव हूँ वैसे?
Yes.
अच्छा, खैर क्या बात हो रही थी अभी?
वो होश में आने में जरा टाइम लगता है ऐसे।
देखो, I get it, Haseeb, you know, you're a bit of a sleepyhead, तुम अभी उठे हो नींद से, लेकिन
मैं नींद से नहीं उठा, मैं उठा हुआ था, बस ये लोग बिला वजह टेंशन ले रहे थे बॉयज, कह रहे थे कि आओ डेथ मैच करो, इमोट करो। मैंने कहा यार CS है, भैंस कभी भूलेंगे ही नहीं ये गेम। Sorry, यार मुंह से निकल गई।
Come on, Haseeb, we have to keep it family friendly and whatnot, but well, you heard it from the men themselves. HSB and Trans, a duo as old as time. Like I've said it before, they got it done, closed it out in 2 maps. And honestly, I thought that against Portal Esports, it would be a little bit more competitive, but unfortunately, they aren't really able to bring in more than a few rounds. And after those semifinals, I thought maybe Portal Esports had a lot going for them, but it doesn't really it doesn't really amount to much. But of course, that is going to be all for today in terms of the tournament. Now, what I want to talk about is the rest of EFEST. We've got Valorant coming up tomorrow. Unfortunately, Trans's team is not going to be participating in it. No cap. I'm just throwing a bit of shade on you there, Trans. Yeah, I get to, yeah,
अभी कुछ वक्त है Valorant का, फिर उसमें भी देखते हैं।
Yeah, I get to say that about him. But as far as Dota 2 is concerned, Team Retalo ended up winning the grand finals. Arslan Ash, I mean, I don't even need to say that result. Arslan Ash ended up winning Tekken. Still have Valorant to go tomorrow. And that should be it for the announcements, for the games, for the updates. Now, I want to quickly shout out the sponsors. Of course, we've got KFC. Finger licking good is always the name of the game. And maybe don't eat KFC while you're gaming and not get all of your gear early.
अभी जाएगा ना KFC लेने फराज?
Yep. I'm probably going to have KFC right after this. I've got my vouchers, but yeah, what I was saying was you always want to have KFC before and after a game, and it's going to get you pumped.
ठीक है फराज, मैं जा रहा हूँ.
No, Trans, you can't leave yet. You're not allowed to leave yet. Okay, you're going to sit here. You're going to be a good boy and listen to more of my trash talk about your team on Valorant. But no, on a serious note, we've got Global Esports Federation, big help to Pakistan Esports Academy. We've got Texonware, always really good computing solutions for Pakistan Esports Academy. And this is a sponsor I didn't mention before, but a Biomac protein powder. They've done an incredible job at locally getting protein powder in the Pakistani scene. So, you know, yep. Yeah, if you want biceps that are a little bigger than HSB's, hopefully, maybe a little bit more like Trans, then you can get 25 grams of protein in 1 scoop of Biomac protein isolate. So that should be it for today. That are all the shout outs, except the producer. I forgot the producer. Wolf, incredible job. I love it. Always keeping me updated in the air. And yep, that is it. That's going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to the CSGO Grand Finals. And again, congratulations to Team VRN for winning out very convincingly. Stay tuned for tomorrow. We will be coming back to you with Valorant. And that is it. This was your host, Wild Deity, and this is EFEST.